Okay, today we're going to look at the effect of the force of gravity on an object. Gravity is a force that acts on the mass of an object. So any object that has mass on Earth here will experience a force of gravity. Another name for force of gravity is the weight. So when we refer to the weight of an object, we're talking about the force that gravity exerts on that object. Weight and mass aren't the same thing. We oftentimes use mass. We say, oh, go weigh this, and you come back in kilograms, but kilograms is not weight. Kilograms is mass. Weight is a force which is measured in newtons. So that's what we'll be investigating today, is the actual force on an object that has a specific mass. So to start with, we're going to be using the LabQuest, the Vernier dual range force sensor, and we'll take this force sensor and set it on plus or minus 10 newtons. All right. Then once we zero the force sensor, we will add a mass hanger. Now let's look at setting up the LabQuest to collect our force data. First of all, we want to take the force probe and plug it into one of these channels on the side. These are the analog channels, not the digital channels that are on the back. All right. As you can see, the LabQuest recognizes the fact that there's a force meter attached. Oh, now it doesn't. Now, you can see that the force probe has 2 newtons of force in it. So what we need to do is to first zero the force probe. So to do that, all we do is tap right there with the stylus and touch 0. Now, as I add mass, you can see that the force goes up. Now, this is very sensitive. So these last columns right here could fluctuate a little bit. But if I'm doing this lab and I would round off to the second decimal place on this. Another thing you can do on this menu is go here and reverse the force. Now, reversing the force, it just keeps the same force reading but puts a negative sign in it. That's because the force meter is able to record a push or a pull. So here will be a pull, so I'm making it negative, and now it's positive because I'm pushing on the probe. It doesn't matter which number it's on as far as taking your data, but we'll just treat it as positive when we graph it. So once we have the force sensor zeroed, we'll hang a hanger on there. The hanger is 50 grams, so we'll put the hanger on there, read our force, increment the mass by 50 more grams, so now we have 100, read our force. Now I want to go up by 50 gram increments, so I have 50, all right, and then I add 100. That gives me 150. Now to get 200, I just keep adding 50s and alternating until I've taken all of my data. One thing you want to be careful about when using these force meters is not to pull on it or put too much mass on it, because it is a sensitive piece of electronics and it can be damaged if it's overstretched.